Hey y'all, what's going on? This is Jesse Boats on the 19th hole, and we're here to do a rookie guide for y'all for the Christmas Links tournament. And the course we will be playing is the brand new Nordic Fjord course, and it's a Christmas course. Definitely got lots of snow and whiteness on the course, just like in our previous Festive Cup tournament. So let's go ahead and start talking about the course. We will do a quick run through holes 1 through 9. This will be a guide for the first tee for the rookie. And we'll talk about different routes that you can look for on the course, maybe my club suggestions and ball suggestions as well for each hole, and whether or not we're going to have any kind of elevation changes. I'll just go ahead and say this now. There aren't a whole lot of elevation changes besides the fact that we are playing over a lot of water throughout the course. So we'll go ahead and get started with hole number 1. So we got hole number 1 here. So we'll just go ahead and label that H1 for hole number 1. And we'll go ahead and start by saying this is a par 4, and we will play this one with a 10% elevation adjustment off the tee box. So you'll add 10% on top of whatever wind that you get for this hole in the tournament. So basically, 2 different ways you can play this, 2 different types of clubs and styles you can play this hole. You can play this with the extra mile, or you can try to play this one with the big topper. I would suggest going this with a Titan ball, but if you don't have a Titan ball, at least go with the Quasar. You do want that extra side spin, or even a Katana ball if you have a Katana and no Titan. A Katana ball would definitely be better than a Quasar, but if you need a Quasar, you can use a Quasar here as well. The way you're going to play this hole is either to the right or to the left. If you play it to the right, you're going to be landing your shot somewhere in that zone right there. And whether or not you use a big topper or an extra mile, well, that choice will be up to you. Either way you play it, you're going to use at least 4+ bars of topspin. Of course, if you go with the big topper, you go with more. But if you go with your extra mile, just go with your max amount of topspin. I like to use max right spin as well. It's important to use a ball with extra side spin, at least the side spin 2 ball. So that's when you're going to go with that max amount of side spin to the right as well. And basically what you're trying to get is you're trying to get a jump off this island here towards the hole. Hopefully you'll bounce somewhere about in there and roll either to the hole if you use your big topper, or if you don't use your big topper, you'll roll somewhere in that vicinity, and hopefully you'll just have a short min range thorn for your shot. So that's the way playing it to the right. If you want to play it to the left, you're going to play it with similar spins. You're going to land it somewhere in here, and you're going to use full top, full right spin. If you do want to use a power 3 ball, there is a possibility that you could land your shot somewhere up in here and get a little bit extra distance to your shot. But if you're not going to use the power 3 ball, skipping that shot in front of the water may be your best bet. So full top, full right spin, trying to get that shot somewhere up into this zone right here from this landing zone. If you go for the farther landing zone, then you may be able to get your shot a little bit farther up the fairway. That line that I drew is not a very good. Let's see. We'll see if we can do better. Somewhere up the fairway that way. And then from there, you're either looking at a max short or a min-range long iron. So I would definitely bring your backbone. I like the backbone from there. It's got the best accuracy, and it's usually the best developed long iron in the rookie level. So that's hole number 1, and that's the way you can play it. If you we do get a good tailwind on this hole, and you don't want to use your big topper, and we do get a good tailwind with a power 3 ball, it may be possible to actually take your tee shot over the water to a landing spot somewhere in there. 3 to 4 bars of topspin, a little bit of right curl, and you could bounce your ball up into that zone right there, possibly onto the left-hand edge of the green as well. So lots of different ways you can play this hole, and several of them do give you the opportunity to get to the green. The kind of wind that we see on Monday may, play a hand in which of these styles that we choose to go forward with as far as the tournament goes. But those are the options, and hopefully y'all can get this a few times on Tour 5 and practice it a few times. I think it's always good to try to practice it each way so that you are familiarized with it in your mind, and that way, you're not caught off guard if you're you need to play it a specific way come tournament time. All right, next hole. We got hole number 2, and hole number 2 is a par 3. We'll go ahead and just write P3 there for par 3. This hole right here, I would definitely suggest going at this one with the Viper. If you got a sniper, you can use the sniper. I would just say go ahead and use a navigator ball, and we're going to play this one at a plus 15%. So yeah, when you talk about 15%, sometimes it gets a little bit tougher to figure out what 15% is. So let's just come up with an example. So let's say we have 5 mile per hour wind. Okay, so 15% of a 5 mile per hour wind would be 0.75. So we would play our shot as if we were playing into a 0.75 mile per hour wind. So 10% would be 0.5. So 5% would be 0.25. So you got 0.75. And that's how you do it. If you had a 2 mile an hour wind, you'd play it like it was 2.3 miles per hour. That would be 15%. So it's pretty easy math when we're talking rookie levels. When you start getting up into the expert and higher, that those 10 and 15% really start adding up and adding to your win total. All right, so the way I'm going to play this hole is I'm going to play my shot down here in this zone right there off the tee box. And with a tailwind, you want to use more backspin. With a side wind, you want to use a little bit less backspin. And then with a headwind, you want to use even less backspin. So I'm going to assume that we're going to either get a side wind or a tailwind on this hole in the rookie. I don't foresee any kind of a headwind on the rookie, but if we do, I would say with a headwind, you're going to go about three or so bars of backspin. With a side wind, 4 bars of backspin. With a nice tailwind, max backspin. I'm not sure how much backspin you'll have with that Viper, but do kind of keep those numbers in line in memory. So if you have a side wind, probably going with about 4 bars of backspin, headwind, 3 bars of backspin, tailwind, 5 bars of backspin, or max backspin, whatever you have on your club. The best thing to do is just try to aim that shot a little bit before the hole as good as possible. And, you just hope to get lucky on this shot. I think this is one of those shots where you kind of just have to cross your fingers, pray that you get a good bounce off the fairway, and maybe get lucky and sink the ace. We'll definitely see some aces on this hole, but I think it's going to be a very easy birdie hole. I don't think it's going to be very easy to mess up a birdie on this hole, but I've been proven wrong before when I say things, so we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I would definitely go for probably 4 to 5 bars of backspin on this hole for a side wind or a tailwind. Hole number 3. We're at hole 3, and this is a par 5. I would definitely recommend extra mile, and the big dog for this hole, I would recommend a Titan ball, which is a power 3 ball. If you can't use a Titan ball, I guess you just go with the Quasar, the next best thing. But you do want that extra power for this hole, specifically for that second shot that you're going to have on this hole. The way we also have a 10% adjustment on this one as well, so plus 10% adjustment off the tee on this hole. The way I play this is either to the left spin or to the left side or to the right side. If you're going to play it to the left side, you're just trying to get your ball up this left fairway into this zone right here. That's basically your shot that way. And the way you'll play that is pretty much full topspin on your driver. If you're going to play it to the right side, you would like to have a driver with a good amount of curl. So if you have a lower level extra mile, unless you have a left to right tailwind or a left to right side wind, it may be a tougher shot to make. But if you do want to try the right side, it'll be something like a shot where you're bouncing the ball in this area right here. You'll use full top spin, full right spin, and at least a driver with probably at least about, I would say, 40 or so points of curl to it, at least. If not, like I said, you probably need a little bit of help from the wind. But the shot's basically going to be something to this degree right here, where it bounces right there and it spins over the water, bounces, and then rolls up to this zone right here. I do want to warn you all that these edges, it's very easy to roll off those edges. So you really want to make sure that you do get your ball aimed to the middle part of that fairway, because your ball will roll off the left and the right side of that island area. Keep in mind, a lot of the edges of the fairways on this course are very thin, and when I say thin, I mean it's very easy to roll off them. So you definitely want to concentrate on keeping your shot centered in the fairways, out of danger. Don't want to go into those rough. If you go into the rough, you're really going to be in trouble for this hole, so don't do it. If you're not sure, I would suggest maybe playing it safe to the left side. All right. So, second shot. Now we're talking about the second shots on this hole. If you're playing it from the left side, you are going to be playing a shot like this here, somewhere to about that location at the top area of that fairway. And you're going to need the big dog. You'll be using max topspin, and you'll be using right spin and right curl, because you want your shot to hit and bounce off this way, okay? Possibly to the green or maybe to the fringe of the green. Now, if you go to the, oops, sorry, dropped my pen. If you go to the right side, you're going to be playing a shot with the big dog as well. And this is really where those power 3 balls come into play. You got to have that power 3 ball on this hole for these shots. Your shot from the right side will be over the water, and it'll be landing somewhere in this zone right there. Okay, and you really don't want topspin for this shot. Believe it or not, you want a little bit of backspin. I would say somewhere about 1 to 2 bars of backspin is what you want to use for that shot. So hopefully you'll hit, and then you'll check up on the green. If you roll past the hole, that's okay. The back part of that green does kind of slope back down towards the hole, so you kind of use the back area of that green kind of as a backboard to stop the ball and let it roll back down to the hole. So just keep that in mind when you are taking that shot. Something like 1 to 2 bars of backspin on that shot would definitely be the best way to go. I would suggest going to the right side. I think the right side is going to be the best chance of securing yourself with that eagle on this hole. And maybe you get lucky and drop you an albatross on this hole as well. I think that left side second shot is definitely a very difficult shot. I would say it may be one of the most difficult shots in the tournament as far as second shot goes. So unless you're someone that really knows their curl and hits that perfect ball well, playing it to that right side may be the best solution for you and the best chance of the eagle. All right, so we got hole number 4 now. And hole number 4 is another par 3. So I would definitely suggest going with a quasar or a katana ball on this hole. You want a ball with at least a number 2 spin category. So that quasar and the katana ball definitely fits the bill right there as far as that goes. We are going to play this with a plus 10% adjustment for the wind going over water downhill. So 10% adjustment for the wind on this shot from the first tee. And the way you're going to play this hole is really going to depend on the kind of wind that we get and the direction of the wind we get. If we have a wind coming at us, any kind of left to right type of action, we're going to play our shot off this left island. I like to play it off the edge, right about up in there. I will try to post a few screenshots of some of the pictures of what my rings look like on the landing zone. I think it has something, I think it was like the red ring was touching the rough or really close to the rough on that landing zone. For that shot, I would go with about 1.5 to 2 bars of backspin on that shot. Of course, we're going to go with full max right spin because you want that ball to hit and you want that ball to land somewhere about up in there and then roll to the hole, hopefully get you an ace. Now, that's the way you play your shot to the left. If you play your shot to the right, this is going to be a very touchy shot. It really is going to depend on the kind of wind that you get, because I did find in practice that playing this shot to the right side on this hole, I was very close to being in between clubs a lot of different times. So I would definitely keep that in mind. If we do find that we need to play the shot to the right side, then we may want to consider maybe going with the Goliath for our long iron instead of the backbone. I like the backbone from the left side, but if we need that extra distance to stay out of between clubs, then I would say maybe the Goliath would be a better option. The only way we would play the shot on the right side, however, would be if we had some sort of a right to left wind. So if we have a left to right, then we don't have to worry about it. But if we have some sort of a right to left wind, then that's when we need to start really kind of decide what long iron to bring to this hole. Your landing spot is going to be somewhere up in this zone right here, that front left quadrant of the fairway. And like the shot from the left, you're going to play this one with max left spin because we are going left. And you're going to go with somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 bars of backspin on that shot, playing it from the right side. And you want that red ring, much like on the left side, to either touch or just be really close to the edge of that rough line. So that's how you'll set up that shot. I hope to be able to make that shot with the backbone, but I'll be honest, during practice, I ran into many situations where my club was in between clubs in that position. So it really is going to come down to what kind of wind we have, what direction that wind is blowing, as to whether or not we can use the backbone. If we have some sort of a headwind, we'll be fine. But if we have a tailwind, then I don't know. Actually, switch that around. If we have a tailwind, we'll be fine. But if we have some sort of a head side wind, then we might not be fine. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, our next hole is hole number 5. And hole number 5 is another par 5. I like extra mile on this hole. I also like the Titan ball on this hole. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Titan ball. This is going to be a long course, and long courses require long balls. So Titan ball, Titan ball, Titan ball. We're going to play this one right here with a plus 10% off the tee for our wind adjustment. So add plus 10% onto whatever wind mile per hour you get. And the way I'm going to suggest that you play this shot is to the left side. And that's the only way I'm really going to suggest you play this shot. You'll be bouncing your shot in front of the bunker, over the bunker, and rolling it up into this zone right here. Now, when you are playing this shot from the tee box, do keep in mind you don't want to use a whole lot of topspin, because it will be easy to roll into the bunker or into the rough. You do want to make sure that your driver, see if you're in mid distance or max distance, because you want to make sure you make those proper adjustments, either mid or max adjustments for the wind on that shot off the tee box. Now, if you want to go to the right side, you can go to the right side. You're going to have a lot more room to just bang it down the fairway if that's the kind of play that you like. But I think the left side is going to give you the best opportunity to get to the green. But if you want to play it to the right side, I would go full topspin and left spin and try to filter your ball to this bigger circle area right there. Your second shot, you need the big dog for the second shot. You know, from the left side, you're going to be using pretty much max topspin, and even having to overpower it some. Either getting it to the green or the fringe of the green. You'll probably land your shot somewhere in there, and then the ball's direction will be that away. After you take your first shot on this hole, you will know quickly how much topspin is too much. If it's really going to depend on the level big dog you have. If you have a higher level big dog in the rookie, then you may not need to use as much topspin, and you may not need to use as much overpower. But if you have a lower level club rookie in the rookie, then you will need most likely the full topspin and a good amount of your overpower. So that's going to vary depending on what level rookie you are playing in the tournament. Because certain clubs have more topspin than other clubs. So definitely keep that in mind when you are doing your notes and also, you know, getting ready to set up your shot. If you have a higher level big dog, then keep that in mind. You have more distance on that big dog. You also have more topspin on that big dog. So you may not need the maximum amounts of each of those to get to the green. If you do play your drive to the right, your shot's going to be, you know, a shot like this. Hopefully, you know, you can roll it towards the green from that way as well. You will probably need some topspin, right spin, and a little bit of right curl to guide that ball to the green. And I would just suggest that you use the ball guide to the best of your ability when you are trying to determine how much right spin to use and how much curl you need to use. And the curl amount may also depend on the type of wind. If we have a left to right wind, that's going to help your ball go towards the green anyway, then you may not need curl. But if you have a right to left wind that's pushing your ball away from the green, then that's when you may need to add that extra amount of curl to kind of counteract that wind in your favor. Okay? I think that's all we had to say about this hole. Yep. All right, moving on. We got hole number 6. And this is a par 4. We will play this one with a plus 10% adjustment off the tee. Do y'all sense this trend? I would say going with the Quasar or a Titan ball in this hole. If you have a Titan ball to spare, I recommend the Titan ball. But if you don't, the Quasar will do fine. Or if you have the Katana is kind of like a poor man's Titan ball, right? Okay, so you could use that as well. Extra mile. This is another one of those holes where you could use the big topper as well. Kind of like that choice is up to you. Your shot's going to be going off the fairway somewhere right in there. And you're bouncing over the water and landing on the second fairway and rolling up as far as you can to the left side like that. Okay? That is what you want to do. So pretty much max topspin and left spin. I think the landing area of that first fairway has a touch of slope to it. So that left spin really kind of helps straighten out that ball guide to get it going away from this. You want your ball to be going away from this. You don't want that. You don't want to roll into that. And don't forget, I mentioned this earlier. These fairways roll very easily off into the rough. I don't know if it's just like quicker fairways because of the snow, but they do seem to have a much quicker roll off into the rough. I think it is kind of a sloped, you know, kind of like that's the fairway and it kind of slopes down all of the fairways. So definitely stay centered on your fairways and away from the edges if you want to stay out of the rough. So for your second shot, you're either going to have the long iron, which I would suggest bringing your backbone, or you'll have a short iron, and that's all going to depend on how well you hit your ball up that fairway. So your second shot will be going towards the hole like this, bouncing there out in front of the hole and going towards the hole. You are going to need to use some backspin on that shot, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 2 to 3 bars of backspin. is what I would suggest. If you play the hole, you feel like you need a little bit more, don't be afraid to use a little bit more backspin if you feel like you need it. Do keep in mind, this is a new course. I've played these holes probably about 3 or 4 times each now, and you know, things do change. As the tournament goes, we may discover a new way to play each hole. And you know what I'm saying is, with new holes, don't be afraid to change the way you play the hole. If it feels like it's a better way to play the hole, it gives you a better % chance at getting that extra stroke. You know, don't play a hole just because I say play a hole this way. I can be wrong. It's possible. It's very possible, especially with the newness of these holes. You know, we won't fully really know how to play these holes and probably until the weekend round. So that's when things are really going to get interesting. All right. So that's the way to play this hole right now. And I really only see one way to play this hole. I kind of, you know, toyed around with a shot that would land us about here and try to roll it up into this zone right here. But in the end, it just wasn't a repeatable enough shot, in my opinion. And, you know, it just wasn't safe. So, all right, that's hole 6. All right, we got hole number 7 now. And hole number 7 is a par 3. And guess what? Plus 10%. Yep, plus 10%. This par 3 is played a lot like, I think it was hole 4's par 3. Whereas the way you play this hole, to the left side or to the right side, is going to depend on the type of wind that we get. I would definitely recommend the backbone again, and I would say Quasar or a Katana ball. Once again, we want that power. We want that number 2 stat for the spin. That's 2 spin stat is very important for this shot. So if we play it from the left, we would play it from the left if we had some sort of a left to right wind. So we play it from the left. We play it from up in that corner right there. Max right spin. And I'm only going to say 1 bar of backspin. Your ball has got to jump over all of that bunker, land on a very small part of that fringe, and hopefully road to the hole. So if you get more than 1 bar of backspin, you're really going to start flirting with that bunker edge. You may just hit the rough and roll onto the fairway, but we would rather have that ball roll onto the green, give you an easy putt for the birdie, or maybe a lucky roll in for the ace. So that's why I say 1 bar of backspin. If you're going to play it to the right side, which would mean we have some sort of a right to left kind of wind, I really like playing this shot up here in this front left edge with my red ring right nuzzled up there to the edge of the rough. I got an ace playing it this way, so that's why I kind of like it. I would say go with max spin to the left and 2 to 3 bars of backspin. Now, I say 2 to 3 bars of backspin. I got my ace playing with 4 bars of backspin, but I did hit great left, I'm not going to lie. Hit great left. So, and it barely rolled into that hole. So that's why I say back up a little bit, go with the 2 to 3 bars of backspin, give that ball a little bit more momentum, and hit a perfect shot. Don't be like me and hit the great. Although, hey, I'll take great aces all day in a tournament. Don't mistake me that way. All right. So that's hole 7. Like I said, very dependent on the wind. Okay? And those are your shots. Very similar to hole number 4. All right, so hole number 8. And hole number 8 is a par 4. I would say this is another one of those holes where you can use the big topper on if you want to, or you can use the extra mile. And there are several different ways you can play this hole. I would say there are 3 ways to play this hole. Let's first talk about the very safe conservative way. Okay? The very safe conservative way takes your drive up to right about in this zone right here off the tee box. And then from there, your second shot will be towards the green from that location. That's the very safe, conservative way to play this hole. And you can still get the eagle playing the very safe, conservative way. So don't take me saying safe, conservative as a warning sign to, don't do it because it's a bad chance of the eagle. No, it's still a good chance of the eagle. But it's definitely a good way to play if you do feel a little bit hesitant on playing any of the other ways. I would say if you're going to play that way, that may be a way to play if you want to conserve your balls. That would be a quasar shot, in my opinion. Play the quasar that way. If you want to play a shot that hops over the water here and goes a little bit down this fairway, that's another way you can play this hole too. And if we have a good wind at our back, a right to left tailwind, that may be a good way to play this hole that way as well. From there, you're gonna have a thorn shot to the hole, where when you take the thorn shot, you want to land it right up here on top of this little ridge, just off the green, with some backspin. Drop it right in the hole, like a second bounce plop into the hole, a teardrop. Boop. Or you could go with a full backspin shot, try to back that thing up back into the hole. That's another option as well. Now, the way we're going to talk about now is the way that you're going to see people play it that are probably going to win the medals. Okay? So, yeah. Oh, what? Yeah. Okay. This is the way that most people are going to play it that win the medals on the weekend. And this is all assuming that we have a pretty good wind as well. So, also keep that in mind. All right. So, we're going to use the big topper. You're going to be using a power 3 ball, so you got to use that Titan ball. If you have a power 4 ball and you want to splurge, okay, this would be the time to do it as well. But anyways, the way you'll play this shot is max topspin, okay, and you'll be using a small amount of curl depending on the wind. Basically what you're doing is you're going to jump your shot right up in here, and with that max topspin, you're going to bounce either in front of the bunker or after the bunker and roll your ball up that fairway with all that extra topspin that you have in the big topper. And you're either going to be sitting on the green or just off the edge of the green for a very nice wedge chip to the hole. You will most likely want to use a little bit of right curl because if you notice, this shot is kind of a shot more towards the right. And then when it bounces, it's going to bounce left. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of wind that we get on this hole. But that's kind of like the general gist of the hole. You bounce it before the water, over the water, you get that nice bounce and roll towards the hole. Full top spin, and then your side spins, you will have to adjust when you get to that scenario. I'm not 100% sure on that. I tried it a couple times. I never received a good wind to try it on, and I didn't use any Titan balls either to try it. I only used quasars. I did get up fairly close to the green one time, so here we're just hoping that we get a good wind for this shot, because that would definitely be an awesome way to pick up an extra stroke on this course. And that was hole number 8. Oh, and don't forget, plus 10% off the tee box. Yes. All right, hole number 9. And we end with a par 5. Hole number 9, par 5. Guess what? 0%. We're not going to play any kind of adjustment on this one. It's fairly flat. If you feel like you need adjustment, go ahead, but I don't feel like we'll need any kind of adjustment for this shot. It just seems like a very flat shot. And yeah. Extra mile and big dog. Titan ball. Yep, Titan ball. I said it again. Titan ball. I think the best way to play this hole, I think the only way we should be playing this hole is to the left side. Okay? You want your shot to roll up this way and through that neck and up to this ending area right here. Okay? I think you know, it's rookie. We're probably not going to get a crazy wind. And even if we do get a side wind, it'll be a low amount, so we'll be able to make that shot. You do want to use a full top spin, and then your side spin is going to kind of be determined based on the kind of wind that we get, the angle of wind that we get. So if we have more of a left to right wind, then maybe you want to go use some left side spin to kind of grate proof that shot. And if we have a right to left wind, maybe you want to use a little bit of right side spin to grate proof that shot. And your second shot with the big dog will be this way. Your ball will land right here, and you'll have to use some top spin and right spin to get that shot there. Another shot that's dependent on the wind. If you have a left to right wind, you don't really have to worry too much about curl. If we do have more of a right to left wind, though, you will need to use that extra curl to counteract that wind and get your ball toward the hole. Another option to play this hole is a bounce off this island from this location. I played it that way before. You'll use a good amount of top spin, left spin, and left curl for that shot. You can play this shot to the right side as well. And if you want to play this shot to the right side, I would say bounce it right about here in front of the rough, and you're trying to get up to this zone right up in there. From there, you will have a shot with your big dog where you will have to bounce it off this island and towards the hole. I would say your best hope and result would be somewhere green side or about right in that area. And you do want to use top spin for that shot as well. I would be very careful on your left spin and your left curl because you don't want to end up short in this this mess right here. Those are bushes and rough. Do pay attention to this island landing zone on the right side. You do want to land that shot more towards the middle part of that island because that island is kind of like the top of a ball. Okay, the middle is the best spot. If you land it on the back end of the ball, that's sloping down. When a ball hits a downward slope, it projects off that slope in a much lower level of projectivity. If it hits the top area, it goes up. Okay, so up, flat down. If you hit the back end of this island right here, you're probably gonna hit this rough right here and then barely roll out onto that fairway, and then you'll have a fairly long wedge shot to the hole. So definitely pay special attention to that landing zone. I personally would encourage everybody to follow the lead of my arrows and what my arrows are pointing to and play it that way. I would not play it to the right side. I would hopefully we get a win and we can play it to the left side because that's going to give us our best chance of setting ourselves up for the eagle. All right, y'all. Well, thank you all very much for watching this rookie guide. And hopefully you all do well on the Christmas Links tournament. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to check us out on our Facebook community page. If you go to your Facebook search bar, you just type in Golf Clash, the 19th hole, and you can find our community there. Great place to come hang out, ask questions, especially if you are a new player learning to play the game and just are seeking you're just seeking a place to ask questions and grow your Golf Clash skills. Definitely a great place to come and hang out. My name is Jesse Both, and thank you all very much. Hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and I will be streaming some next week. Not 100% sure on the schedule just because of the Christmas holidays. I have family coming into town, but I will definitely be trying to get videos out for you all, and I'll do the best that I can. So take care, y'all, and God bless.